ॐ महालक्ष्मीं च विद्महे विष्णुपत्नीं च धीमहि तन्नो लक्ष्मी प्रचोदयात्.
And one of the reasons why I like to do this platform, guys, we have 144 people on right now, is because it allows me to use my time wisely. It allows me to address you guys as one unit, as opposed to doing one-offs where people inbox me and say, "Hi, Tree Master, how you doing today?" Or "I have a one question." Don't have the time to entertain a lot of the traffic that I get every single day from all angles. So this allows me the opportunity to be more efficient with the expenditure of what I have to offer. And we're only going to go but so far on these lives, because it is not an appropriate place for a seminar in which I disclose and dispatch information that is too voluminous to have just hanging out for the neophyte to misconstrue and possibly do damage. When I do seminars, it is important that I'm able to look in the eyes of everyone and make sure that they are intaking the information and the data without damaging them. And yes, I've said this before. There are times where I will have to, it's like the Men in Black movie, say a sequence of power or a word of power and neuralize people and have them forget some of the things that they've learned, because I can see or sometimes foresee that it might be damaging to the consciousness of the individual because they're not ready really to receive it. This is the same thing that happens when people have certain information that is given to them in their dream state. When people have information about their death that is right around the corner, or they're shown how they're going to leave this life, most of the time people will delete it. But if you look at people like Tupac, Kurt Cobain, Jim Morrison, if you look at Amy Winehouse, these people knew that they were going to leave this world early. They did not delete the files of what they were being told in the spiritual world. They did not erase the data that was associated with them having a very short stay on this planet. As a result, they came into this life with a hurricane of energy that they needed to get done to have the impact on their circumference, which is the ripple at the point in time, the singularity of their existence, really quickly, fast, and powerful, impactful. Then they left this life before they were 30 years old. This is not something that is uncommon. But to the neophyte, to a lot of people, most people are shown how they are going to die. Most people are shown the ways in which they can ascend, and they don't have to die. This is the reason, ladies and gentlemen, why I come to a lot of you in your dreams. I come to show you that it is a possibility for you to continue your education and leave this life not in the way that the advanced thought form of death is accepted to be in the consciousness of the earthling human. That's right. So when I come to you in your dreams, it is to show you that there is a way to get back into the eternal. And the eternal, you can only get there by not dying. I've never said that publicly, but if you listen to the logic of what I'm saying, doesn't that make sense? Nothing that is eternal ever dies. So how would you get back into the eternal if you died to get there? Doesn't make sense, does it? So it's something that I'd like for you guys to consider, and this is one of the reasons why we are giving the Golden Chariot. I'm going to tell you some other very commonsensical things. The Golden Chariot will be the 12th presentation that I have done in a very short period of time of 5 years. The Golden Chariot is the only seminar that I will do as Lord Thoth completely. When this particular seminar occurs, you will be learning directly from Lord Thoth himself. There are many people who ask me every day, should I read the Emerald Tablets? Should I read the Kabbalion? Should I read the Book of Enoch? And what I tell those people is that those things were written hundreds and thousands of years ago. There are new things, current things, and modalities that are many more times more powerful than you watching an old movie that an actor did the beginning of his career. Doesn't that make sense? Do you see the analogy? So when people are locked into the Emerald Tablets of Light, which is a great reading, you have to understand that there are several mistranslations in it. There is a lot of power in it. It still does have the ability to reveal its true nature, which is to basically transform you. But if Lord Thoth is on the planet now, and he is basically giving you things that will bypass the energy of something that is thousands of years old. Someone is offering you a brand new iPhone or a Droid phone that is the most current, but you choose to use the analog rotary phone that does not give you all of the efficiency, the convenience, the amenities, the updates that the Droid or the iPhone has available. You can't download podcasts. You can't take pictures with a rotary phone. You cannot receive regular updates on a rotary phone. You cannot send text messages with the rotary phone. Yet, there are some people, figuratively speaking, that pontificate and insist on using the rotary phone, spiritually, that is. So, with the current data and teachings that I have been giving for the past 5 years, it all has been coming from the higher gods that assist humans in their evolution. Now, if you look at the traffic and the testimonials, it speaks for itself. And again, a lot of people have difficulty perceiving the reality of what should be commonsensical. So that's something that I just wanted to spell out. Okay. So with no further ado, I wanted to answer some of your questions that you guys have posed on Instagram and Facebook. Okay. Some questions are, I don't want you guys to feel ashamed or embarrassed to answer or to have your questions answered, okay? Because all of us are in varying positions on our journey. And if it's a question that I'm going to entertain at an upcoming seminar, I will tell you that. If it's something that doesn't warrant my attention, I'll just ignore it. Don't feel any way about that. But, a lot of this stuff I've gone over time and time again. Again, the Golden Chariot is the most current presentation. It will be the 12th presentation that I've done. Let's look at the synchronicity of the number 12. 4 plus 4 plus 4, which is the galactic coordinate of the Galighticus. I'm saying that also for the first time. Those galactic coordinates, or that particular galactic coordinate, is assigned to Archangel Michael, as well as Lord Thoth in particular. And when you add them up, you get the number 12. Isn't it ironic that the 12th presentation that I'm doing is coming directly from Lord Thoth himself? And I had to acknowledge publicly that we are the same being. Why is that important? It's not a braggadocious thing. A lot of people don't cite their sources. There have been teachers that have plagiarized other people's materials. They have written about certain things that they've gotten from other books. They have taken other people's teachings and taught it. And unfortunately, some of these people have had to leave Facebook because they didn't want to face the obligation, the responsibility of what they had done. And that is unconscionable. You have to have good character when it comes to, or if you're going to be a teacher of spirituality. And if you're going to have a card that makes you a director of divinity. So, reason that I am announcing formally that Lord Thoth and I are the same being is because it would be plagiaristic for me not to do so. In the 11 different presentations times 4, right? Because I do every presentation 4 times before it is retired. There have been very, very seldom times that I have not answered a question, but it is not me who is answering the question. It is the consciousness of the God, Lord Thoth. For me not to be acknowledging of who and how he has guided all of this, it would be analogous to me not citing a source and not giving credulous to where it belongs to. And it is an act of humility and piety that is something that is a public demonstration of what he wishes. Okay. So I want you guys to know that. So the first couple of questions that I would like to answer come from my personal page on Facebook. We put this post up a couple of hours ago, and there were some people that responded, 16, I think, in particular. And Phoenicia has asked, or she has asked, do daily offerings together as a family magnify anything? That's an angels, gods, and altars question. But when we did that seminar in Toronto, Canada, how you doing, Novia, my client? She was a facilitator of that, and I want to give everybody a shout out that came to that seminar, as well as all of the people, the Canadians and the Torontians that were that are followers of Galighticus. I acknowledge you. And that particular question would be something that I would entertain in detail. But to be short, yes, it does magnify the power of your altar when there is more than one family member that is basically by blood that shares the energy and the benefit of the altar, meaning mother, father, and children, grandparents, cousins, aunts, uncles. It needs to be family by blood, and that will quantify the power and the benefit of the altar. It is very important that if you have the presence of gods upon your altar, if it is a statue, if it is a picture of myself, it is a picture of a deity or an exalted being, a saint, an ascended master, a sage, an archangel. They occupy the same space, and it's very important that you are very respectful in their presence, which means you won't be able to listen to NWA and Richard Pryor through speakers that are in the vicinity of your altar. If you do that, you will invite darker energy to begin to impel your spiritual journey. You will invite darker entities such as lost souls, jinns, ifrit, demons, poltergeists, and ghouls to enter into your home and cause mischief. You're inviting them to do so when your behavior is not what it ought to be, when you don't clarify your environment by burning incense, like I said, on a regular, when you don't make offerings to your altar, or you are eliciting and exhibiting negative or bad behavior in front of the statues or the presentations of the gods on your altar. Okay, so I hope that that answers your question. Another question that we have, Nitra Aiken, and I believe I answered this question before, but I will answer it again. in a more concise way. How important is studying the emerald tablets and the and pointers to consciously astral project to travel beyond. Okay, so Nitro, what I said about the Emerald Tablets is a great book. It's great to read. It's something that does have a benefit, but you want to be more with the current events. As far as astral projection, Nitra, if you don't have, a lot of people put the carriage before the horse. And it doesn't make sense to do that if you don't have a footing in your own spiritual power, if you don't have an altar, if you don't have a connection to other parts of yourself. There are parts of the multidimensional complex that you need to meet first before you even begin to attempt to astral project. This is something that I covered in a workshop called Multidimensional Self, in which I gave the entire anatomy of the total self. The consciousness is not just the human body. The consciousness is many different facets, aspects, and parts of you that you do not know. If your name is Barry, you have about 20 other versions of your consciousness whose name is not Barry, that are more evolved or lesser evolved than the temporal form that you connect with, that is your consciousness. It is important that you build your consciousness from a serene place of baseline thorough exploratory. What that means is that if you're bouncing around all over YouTube, Wikipedia, Facebook, at a certain point, it is important that you follow one school of thought and get the totality and the benefit from level one to as far as your consciousness is ready to go. If you are going to be serious about making leaps and bounds and permanent strides in the building of your consciousness, if you are all over the place, your consciousness also will be all over the place.
Aha. Galighticus, aha.
Voodoo is not Wiccan. Ifa is not Kemetica. There are different formations and different practices that are subscribed to different modalities or different schools of thought, specifically for the devotees and the initiates of that particular form. When it comes to Galighticus, one of the things that I have my students do, it is the only ascension program on the planet. They follow one school of thought. Doesn't matter if they are a practicing Buddhist, if they practice Al-Islam, or if they are just freshly out of Christianity or still in Christianity. Doesn't matter if they are a high priest or shaman. Doesn't matter if they are a warlock or a wizard of any kind of magical system. They can take the baseline of what we offer and they will go as far as they can handle. To all of the students who have disappeared and fallen off of the path, that is analogous to the threshold of what and how far they could go. Think about that for a second. I have many students who have joined the program. Some students have to try over and over again. I commend those students and I respect everyone where they are, but it is not an easy path. And what happens is that you live in the challenge of your human default program. You live in it every day. It is something that you report to. It's something that you are entombed in. If you look at what it says in the Emerald Tablet, release your light from your darkness. What do you think it's talking about? It's talking about the light that dwells inside of you. If you ever look outside of your body, outside of your eyes, you can get the sensation that you are trapped within your own body. That is a very uncomfortable feeling because it can cause you to feel claustrophobic. So your mind and your consciousness has no other choice but to connect with the internal of the body that you live in so that you don't drive yourself mad. For other people that do not have that ability, they have a very harrowing challenge with day-to-day life. They think that everything is an assault on them. They have arguments and fights and disagreements every time they turn around. They are always in some type of turmoil. It is because the light that is inside of their body does not want to be in or trapped. Most people, when they go to a bridge, or if they go to a mountain, or if they go to the edge of a building, and they look over, 9 times out of 10, if you're honest with yourself, you're going to wonder what it's like to jump off. You're going to want to feel the freedom, even if for however whimsical and fleeting the sensation is. It's really not a thought of suicide as much as it is an act of freedom that you will entertain for a moment. The light that is inside of your body is always seeking to free itself. The human default program is responsible for keeping it locked further into it. The very best thing you could do to achieve freedom is to unlock your consciousness in a safe way so that you do not become and continue to be enslaved. I am Sri Master Gecko Grows for Galighticus.